Hey, don't let me forget the number 8 broom hooks. You got them? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer. Meep, meep. Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth.
I say, Redveil, come here often.
Only when my horse is running.
Brava.
Creating measurable results for people like you and families like yours. No longer a member of the amateur ranks, I am the Professional Noticer.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. While our topics might seem to vary wildly at times, it is because the things you care about most are often greatly affected by the things you care about least. Therefore, we will field questions about business, spiritual issues, popular culture, and how to deal with the crazy woman at the Little League ballpark who never takes the unfiltered camel out of her mouth while she's cussing out the umpires. My purpose here today, and with every show we do, is to play the part of a best friend or coach. I want to help you live the life you would live if all your toughest questions were answered. The Professional Noticer is sponsored this week by Tucker ATV, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers. That's what we do here. Every week I toss out a few observations and you provide the questions. Then we harness common sense and wisdom to plow through the issue all the way to an answer for you. So, here's what I'm seeing this week. These are just some random notes, thoughts that I wrote down for you. It occurred to me several times this week. I was reminded of things that had at one point been critically important to me. Or at least I thought at the time they were critically important. And now I look back and I'm not even sure they were critically important at the time. In fact, I'm sure they weren't. How many things do we deal with in our lives that we are freaking out over, that we think it's just like, oh my gosh, this is something I must do or something I cannot miss? Or I remember the high school girlfriend-boyfriend thing? I watched our boys go through middle school, and I just I held my breath because I just remember how in junior high school, how I don't know, just how terrible it seemed that this girl didn't love me. I mean, it was just awful. Yes, I got to go with Roberta Ramsey to the Valentine's banquet at the First Baptist Church. Yes, I did get to go to a movie one time with Suzanne Edson. But the true love of my life, Brooke Kennington, I don't know if I ever even spoke to her. Oh, yeah, Bob Woodall. Bob Woodall went to the movies with her and with Becky Solly and Sharon Holbert, all these beautiful junior high school girls. And I guess, I look and I say that was the whole world at that point. And now I look back and it seems just kind of funny or silly. What about this? Do you remember this? Who shot J.R.? Now, I know there's some people listening and go, who shot who? Who is J.R.? But there was a time in our nation that this was a big deal. Matt, do you have any idea what I'm talking about? You don't. How old are you?
27.
27. Matt's 27. He has no idea who shot JR, who JR is, or why I would even bring it up. But if you're my age, you know that there was a show called Dallas, and J.R. Ewing was played by, who's the guy? You know, he was the astronaut in I Dream of Jeannie. I can't remember his name right now, but in any case, he was J.R. Ewing. He was this just horrible human being. And at the end of the season of Dallas, this like hand comes into the screen. Somebody shot him. And all summer long, I'm telling you, it was on the cover of Time magazine. This was, people talked about it. And as God is my witness, on the Friday night in the fall, when the show that began again, I remember being at a football game, at our high school football game, and they had a timeout, and the announcer said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to let you know that it has just been revealed Kristen shot JR." And the whole stadium was, I mean, can you believe this? This was important to our nation. Well, a response to a problem and a solution are two different things. And sometimes things seem critical until we realize they're not. Things seem impossible until somebody does them. And a lot of your success in life will come from getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And here's one more thing. I love analogies. I love saying, well, you know, a dog is like so-and-so, or, well, a person, you know, who is sad is like this. And analogies just make sense to me. And I was talking to somebody the other day about life being a struggle. And my dad told me years and years ago that you find out what people are really like when they're under stress. Well, that's true of a lot of things. I have come to realize you find out how strong the board is when it's under stress. You find out, what is the breaking point of steel when it's under stress. You find out a lot of things. But another analogy for stress is hot water. You say, yeah, well, now let them experience a little hot water in their lives, and we'll see what they're like. And hot water turns out to be a perfect analogy because boiling water seems to change most things. And so it's like, are you a carrot? Are you like a potato? Are you a vegetable? Because if you're a vegetable, in boiling water, you get mushy. An egg in boiling water gets hard inside, and later it will become cold. I would suggest that you and I want to be coffee. Because coffee in boiling water changes the water itself and makes it more valuable. So can we take the stress that we're dealing with, can we take the situations that we find ourselves in and become more valuable for other people? Can we help? Can we calm? Can we bring peace? Can we bring perspective? Can we be a good cup of coffee? Okay. Our sponsor this week on the Professional Noticer is Tucker ATV, the small business with the national reputation. I got to tell you, I know a lot of people, and two of my favorite people are Shannon and Lisa Tucker. Just last week, Austin and Adam and I were going down Highway 43 and headed toward Mobile, and Adam said, "We are going to stop at Tucker ATV, right?" And I said, "Do you need to?" And he said, "Dad, don't we always need to hang out a little bit with Mr. Shannon and Miss Lisa?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess we do." They really are awesome people. And if you have a need for an ATV, they are the Polaris gurus. I mean, man, the Polaris systems they have, the Ranger Cruise, all the vehicles, I mean, they're getting better and better. And they also have all the Echo power tools. But it's not just a place you just walk in and go, yeah, well, there's some power tools, there's some, four-wheelers or whatever. This is a very different place. Even if you don't really find yourself in the market for an ATV right now, you owe it to your family to go just wander around Tucker ATV. Highway 43 North. It's not really near the interstate, but if you're headed to the beach, you can cut off to the side, go down 43 for a little while, and stop in there. This place is a destination. You need to go on the Facebook page, Tucker ATV on Facebook, because Lisa writes some awesome stuff. And it's really funny. It's good, family-oriented type of stuff. But there is a reason, that people not only stop in there. There's always something new. They have mounts from all over the world. They have antiques displayed everywhere. They have a front porch in the back of their store inside with a porch swing where you can sit and have some coffee and talk to some people. It really is an amazing thing. And there's a reason that they are doing business in literally 14 states. Okay, Tucker ATV, Shannon and Lisa Tucker, the small business with the national reputation. Observations and answers, that is what we do. I deliver the observations, you provide the questions. Questions are a critical component of the person you and I aspire to become. No one should be embarrassed to ask a question. The person who never asks a question, they either know everything or they know nothing. Always remember, the quality of your answers can only be determined by the quality of your questions. This week, our question is from Vance. He's from Minnesota. Let's listen.
Hey, Andy. Thank you so much for your writing and thinking that inspires what you do. I do need some of your thinking as soon as you can, and if you could send it my way. My wife and I are at the point in our lives with our family, and we just need some help. I don't really want to say that we're desperate, but I am starting to feel that way, and kind of, so here's what's happening. We have 3 boys. They're 9, 10, 11. They've never really been good at doing their chores without being reminded or re-reminded. But now it's becoming somewhat of a crisis. And not only do they not fulfill their current obligations, making their beds, cleaning their rooms, yard work, but now they've begun to basically argue about who's supposed to do what. And unfortunately, I travel a lot for work. I'm usually gone 2 to 3 nights a week. And now it seems when I come home, I have a frustrated wife who's beginning to blame me and how the boys are acting. So any quick advice would be appreciated. Again, thanks. This is Vance in Minnesota.
All right. Hey, thanks, Vance. As you know, I have a copy of your letter right here with me so that I can look along and go through this again. I appreciate you writing, appreciate you recording this for us. And I do have some thinking for you, brother. All right. I know that your wife and you are at a point that you do need help. I agree. And I will say that while it might seem desperately to you, I think there is a fairly easy fix to this, because if it was now I got to tell you, you asked for an answer, you want a real answer. Okay, so I haven't got a long time to be tactful, but I can tell you there's great news here, because if this was something that was wrong with your boys, then you'd have a lot of work to do. But this is an issue with your boys' parents, and if you want to dial it down, you come home to a frustrated wife who is beginning to blame you for how the boys are acting. Dude, you can. It is something you can do. Okay, I hesitate to say, Vance, come on, this is your fault. I hesitate to say that because nobody needs to, feel like they've done something drastically horrible. You haven't, okay, but you have ignored some human nature things here. I think that probably when I listen to your voice, I look at your letter, the way you have written it, you're probably a very intelligent person. You're probably a lot smarter than I am, but there's one thing that I see that smart people do that backfires on them, and that is that they tend to expect everybody else to be as smart as they are, or they just think everybody's an idiot. And either one of those things, it's going to get you in trouble. Now, your kids aren't idiots, but you also cannot expect your 9, 10, and 11-year-old to be adults. They aren't. Okay? You say here they've never really been good at doing their chores without being reminded and re-reminded. Okay. We're all right there with you. I don't. This is an issue that a lot of people have, and it's an issue that Polly and I dealt with. And I am a dad who travels too. I traveled for work. That kind of sounds like me. Usually gone 2 to 3 nights every week. Maybe when my boys were the age of your boys, I was probably gone a couple of nights a week, I guess. And I know about coming home to a frustrated wife who's like, all right, come here and let me tell you what's going on. See, one good thing you got here, Vance, is that they're boys. I can't, I don't know how else to say that. But you as a dad can deal with your boys in a different way than you would have to deal with the girls. And you can get with these guys and you can tell them the truth. Now, I'm going to tell you what that truth is here in just a minute, but I also want to remind you that young men like this, they're boys. Hey, we're going to call them young men to them, but you and I know a 9, 10, 11-year-old, these are boys, okay? But boys have something in their heart that is like a knight or a cowboy, or very protective, and that has to be energized. That is something that you can remind them about. Boys are they're boisterous. They wrestle. I would imagine, if I had to guess, I bet one of the things that your wife says when you come home is that they're fighting, or because if she's got 3 boys, unless she had sisters, my wife only had a sister, and so If your wife actually grew up without brothers, most of what you guys do seems pretty foreign to her. You know, when Austin and Adam would wrestle, and it would just, she would just like, it scared her to death. But I'm like, Polly, that's how they love each other. That's how they're, that's how they're built. And she said, but it goes too far. I said, well, yeah, I know. I mean, it's like Mike Jakubik, my buddy, says, you ain't been wrestling until somebody cries. When they're little, they go too far to know where those limits are. And, sometimes they do get hurt, but you're not going to let them do something dangerous, obviously. But you do want to harness that energy and that kind of aggression that a boy has to honor his mom. That your mom is the fair maiden. Your mom is the lady out on the ranch by herself, and the bad guys are everywhere, and you want to protect your mom. You want to create a huge amount of respect in that house for your wife. And I got to tell you, I have no idea how you act around your wife. I have no idea how your boys see you act around your wife. But I would suggest one of the greatest things you could ever do for your boys is to always open the door for their mother and stand when their mother comes to the table, and stand when mom leaves the table. Now, I'm going to tell you, you may listen to that and think, wait a minute, what? Okay. But this standing up when a lady comes to the table, in our world today, you're probably not going to get any demerits for not doing it. But oh my gosh, you would not believe how many people come up to my family in a restaurant, or as we're leaving, and they'll say, I was so impressed with your boys. Because when they were 9 and 10 and 11, they were standing up. They were standing up when their mom would come to the table. They would not sit down until the last lady sat at the table. If an adult came over to our table in a restaurant and said hello, and I stood up to talk to the adult, my boys stood up and just stood there. Now, there are some people that are going to listen to this. There are going to be some ladies that listen to this and go, well, that's just absolutely unnecessary. And I'm, offended that you would even. Well, let me just tell you this. This is probably not the podcast for you, okay? Nobody's forcing you to listen to it, but I am going to give you answers that is going to help you not raise great kids, but raise kids who become great adults. This is what we're after. Okay, Vance, going right to the part about fulfilling their obligations and the garbage cans, the bed making, cleaning the rooms, yard work. And now they begin to argue about who is supposed to do what. Yeah, I know. I've heard that too. Okay. And I know that, the 11-year-old, I did that last week. And the 9-year-old goes, well, this is your turn this time. And I know. And it just becomes unbearable for your wife. It becomes unbearable probably for you, because now you're having to not only deal with the kids when you get home, you're having to deal with your wife's reaction to the kids, and her reaction is an honest reaction. They aren't doing what they're supposed to do. But remember, we're not trying to raise great kids. We're trying to raise kids who become great adults. And so, believe it or not, one great family meeting can get this off to an amazing start. Okay, so here's what your family meeting is going to be like. We're going to, and you don't have to drop it all on them at one time. Okay, but there are a little bit of this you do want to drop on him at one time, and that one part of that you're going to lower the boom about is we're going to do things differently here, and the way I did it is to say, you know what, I have made a mistake in how I got across to you what you were supposed to do, because the way I have laid it out evidently has been confusing, because we have to keep reminding you, and then you guys get aggravated with each other. And so here's the thing. Our family is a peaceful family. Now, at this point, Vance, whether you are or not, you want to declare it. This is who we are. You always want to say that. You don't want to say, God, please, can we just have some peace around here? God, could we just turn into a peaceful family? Now, you declare it. Listen, our family, when we're within these walls, we're together, we value each other, we are a peaceful family. Okay? Mom, she is our queen, leaning out of the castle with her beautiful hair flowing in the wind, and we are the knights around that castle. We're protecting her mom. We're going to make sure that everything is good for Mom. Okay? I really do not like it when Mom has to remind you and then remind you again. You guys are old enough to know that the garbage goes out. It gets picked up on Monday and Thursday. And so the garbage goes out on Sunday night and it goes out on Wednesday night. And so here's what the deal is. Now, I want to tell you this, and this is like you use this version of this with everything, with the bed, with everything. Whosever job it is with the garbage, I would if they're on a schedule, you this week, we're going to nip that arguing in the bud too. But it's generally easier to have one guy on the garbage detail, one guy on the so-and-so, and do that for a month and then switch out or something. But if you want to rotate it, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is that you know when the garbage goes out. You own the garbage. You own it. All the garbage cans in the house are to be emptied and taken down to the big trash cans, and then the trash can out to the street. You own it. Right now, here's the thing. I am never going to remind you. Okay, now, why am I not going to remind you? Because you only have like 2 or 3 things to do. Okay, if you want to go write a note on your door that says garbage cans Sunday night, garbage cans Wednesday night, I would suggest you do that. Okay, but you own the garbage. I am never going to remind you. Now here's the thing. If you don't take the garbage out, I'll get it done. I'll do it or whatever. But, and then you have to figure out some kind of thing. All right. For me, it was, that little bitty brush under the sink in the carport. That little brush, if you don't take the garbage cans out, you get to wash both of them inside and out, spotless clean, with that little brush. And that's what you'll do if you don't take them out. And of course, well, I can't believe we have to do that. No, wait. Maybe you're not understanding. You don't ever have to clean those garbage cans. You don't ever have to scrub them. You don't ever have to get that brush out from under the sink in the carport. Ever. Just do what you're supposed to do. It's your job. you do that. And if you don't, this is what happens. Okay? If you're supposed to make your bed, your room is supposed to be clean before you go to school. This is what you do. I do not need to say, Mom does not need to say, have you cleaned your room? Have you made your bed? Did you make your bed like it ought to be made? We don't need to say these things. And we'll make sure that you know how your bed is supposed to look, okay? And I think you probably already know, but we'll make sure you know. But if you go to school and it's not done, I'll do it, because we're not going to live in a house that's kind of messy, okay? But you will go to bed at 7 o'clock that night, or whatever it is. Okay, but here's the thing, Vance. You really do want to stick to it, and you don't want to make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. I mean, if they don't do the garbage, okay, hey, come on and get the. Let me make sure you know where the brush is, and let's get this brush, and call me when you're through with it, and let me inspect it. And I'll be out doing whatever, and just let me know. I mean, you're happy as you can be. You're not mad. You're not, and they get home the night. Hey, okay, like bedtime's for you is 7, right? Okay, and then Wait, what? No, that was thing. And then here's the room. And this is what you're supposed to do. We're not going to get mad about it. We're not going to talk about it. You just got to lay those things out. And you can create peace in your family. But this is creating self-discipline. I mean, you are, people are scared to discipline their kids, or they discipline them in anger, or whatever. Now the one thing you owe your kids more than anything is to discipline them, because you discipline children so that they understand how to self-discipline when they are adults. You discipline kids so that they can develop self-discipline. Now, in the absence of that, you see sometimes there are adults that don't have self-discipline. If we allow these children to become adults and they do not have the ability to discipline themselves, society will discipline them for them. Right? I mean, if they can't discipline themselves, if they grow up into adults that can't discipline themselves, society will do it for them. Okay, but when society has to discipline an adult, it's usually very unpleasant. It's like you are under arrest, or you're fired, or you're on probation, or, I mean, there are many ways that society disciplines adults that do not have the ability to discipline themselves. Hey, Vance, listen, they're 9, 10, and 11. It's an awesome age, because they can't drive, they can't do really anything without you. You control it. Do not let your boys control your life. Okay? You want to be an awesome dad. You want to direct them to their awesome mom, and you want to honor her, and you want them to honor her. But listen, you do not have to have those kids. I'm gonna end up going too long here, but I'm just gonna say, and then we'll maybe let somebody else ask this question sometime. But just know, you don't have to have those kids in baseball, basketball, and football. And, the time they spend with you and your wife will have more to do with the adults they become than playing every team sport that is available. Okay? So just know that you're in a great place. We're all learning, and I think this is gonna work out great for you. Okay? And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing what mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk, shake hands with the kids you meet, and make sure you have an answer to the question, hey, is Velveeta really an actual cheese? And so, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme, written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Aromatherapy provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by Polly's Homestyle Congealed Salad. Whether it's orange, green, or purple, you can count on Polly to make your holiday special with nothing more than pineapple, pecans, cottage cheese, and good old-fashioned Jell-O. If it's congealed, it's Polly's.